What if everything you thought was falling apart in your life was actually opening the door to something greater? What if the struggles, the heartbreaks, and the nights you thought you wouldn't survive were not your enemies, but the very lessons your soul needed to grow? Imagine realizing that gratitude isn't about having everything perfect. It's about seeing the sparks of light even when darkness surrounds you. What if the one thing keeping you stuck is not your circumstances, but the way you're asking questions to life? What if asking why me keeps you trapped while asking what is this teaching me could transform every setback into strength? And what if the breath you're taking right now, this very moment, is proof that you are still standing, still fighting, still capable of finding peace? Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, you're going to discover 8 ways to feel truly grateful, even when life feels impossible, and they're going to change the way you see yourself and everything around you forever. What if gratitude isn't something magical that appears when life is beautiful and peaceful, but something like a muscle, one that only grows stronger when life breaks you first? People think gratitude is an emotion that arrives after success, after healing, after happiness. But what if it's the opposite? What if the days that hurt the most are the days you are actually being trained to recognize what truly matters? Imagine this, a person who has everything, money, comfort, people, luxury, yet feels empty, numb, disconnected. And then picture someone else who lost everything, who stands in ruins, yet smiles at the sunrise like it's gold. Isn't it shocking that the most grateful people are often the ones who have suffered the most, that the heart learns appreciation after it has been broken? When life is easy, gratitude is casual. But when life is chaos, gratitude becomes a lifeline. Think back to a time you struggled to breathe through your own storms. Maybe you lost someone. Maybe a dream shattered. Maybe the ground disappeared beneath your feet. You thought you'd never recover, and yet here you are, breathing, living, feeling. Gratitude isn't about what you have. It's about realizing that something inside you refused to die even when everything else did. You think gratitude is soft, gentle, calm, but what if it's fierce, like a warrior inside your chest whispering, "Stand again"? It's not a mood that visits you, it's a muscle you build, rep after rep. Every time life tries to crush you, and you still somehow find one thing to hold on to: a smile, a moment, a memory, a heartbeat. Gratitude grows in you like strength. It sharpens your vision. It makes you see what you used to overlook. The breath in your lungs, the feet that carry you, the heart that still hopes. And the more you practice noticing, the more your inner world changes, not by magic, but by muscle. Because gratitude isn't something you feel when you have everything. It's something you discover when you realize you still have something, even if it's only the courage to continue. What if the greatest things in your life right now are the things you haven't even noticed? What if, while you are busy counting what you lost, life is quietly protecting 1,000 things that never broke? We spend so much time staring at what went wrong that we forget to look at what didn't. You survived nights you thought would kill you. You handled situations you once prayed to escape. And still, you overlooked the strength it took to survive. Isn't it terrifying that pain screams louder than blessings? That one heartbreak can blind you to 100 miracles happening silently every single day? Think about it. You woke up today. Someone else didn't. Your heart is still beating. Your body still carries you forward. Your mind still dreams of better days. You have people you haven't lost, opportunities you haven't missed, breaths you didn't have to fight for. But the mind, oh the mind, loves to highlight the wound and ignore the skin that never tore. One bad moment destroys the whole picture. One broken event shadows 100 perfect ones. But what if you flip the lens? What if instead of thinking, "My life is falling apart," you ask, "What held me together?" We rarely thank the tragedies that didn't happen, the calls we never got, the diseases we never faced, the accidents we passed by without even knowing. We forget the meals we didn't miss, the home that sheltered us from cold nights, the heart that kept believing even when life kept disappointing. Imagine how life would feel if every morning you asked yourself one question: what didn't go wrong today? You'd realize the universe was holding you more gently than you ever recognized. Look at your pain, yes. Honor it, but don't ignore the quiet miracles. The friend who checked up on you, the moment you laughed when you thought you couldn't, the promise of another sunrise waiting for you tomorrow. You don't have to be grateful for everything. Just don't be blind to what stayed with you when everything else left. Sometimes the blessing isn't what you gained. It's what didn't break, what didn't disappear, what didn't stop loving you. What if the reason we struggle to feel grateful is because we keep trying to skip the pain instead of sitting with it? What if every tear you hold back, every emotion you bury, every memory you avoid is actually blocking the doorway to gratitude? We think being strong means cutting off our feelings, smiling when we're shattering inside, pretending we're okay just to survive another day. But what if strength is something completely different? What if real strength is letting yourself break, letting your chest burn with the truth, letting the waves hit you instead of running from them? Picture this, a shaken bottle of soda. If you keep the cap tight, pressure builds until it explodes uncontrollably. But open it slowly, gently, and it releases without chaos. Your emotions are the same. The more you suppress them, the louder they return. The more you hide them, the heavier they become. Yet we keep teaching ourselves to be numb, to be okay, to move on quickly. And then we wonder why gratitude feels distant, unreachable, fake. How can you feel thankful when your heart is still holding uncried storms? There are people walking around smiling, but inside their ribs are graves of emotions they never allowed themselves to mourn. Unfelt pain becomes poison. It hardens the heart, blinds the mind, and dims every spark of joy. To feel grateful, you must first feel everything: the grief, the disappointment, the anger, the confusion. When you allow yourself to break open, you create space for light to enter. Gratitude is not born from perfection. It blooms from acceptance. Imagine someone sitting on the floor of their room, tears soaking the carpet, fists shaking, but for the first time, they're honest. Honest about their hurt, honest about their loss, honest about their wounds. In that raw, unfiltered moment, something shifts. A breath feels softer. A heartbeat feels louder. A small whisper inside says, maybe healing is possible. That whisper is gratitude beginning to grow. Not because life is perfect, but because you finally gave yourself permission to feel alive again. Every emotion you avoid is a door you never open. And behind that door lies the possibility of peace, softness, clarity. Gratitude doesn't replace pain. It grows through it like a flower pushing through concrete, delicate yet unstoppable, fragile yet unbelievably strong. What if the questions you ask yourself are the very reason you feel broken, or the reason you will one day rise? What if every time you said, why me, you built a wall around your healing, and every time you asked, what is this teaching me, you built a doorway instead? We don't realize it, but pain answers whatever question we give it. If you ask life why you suffer, life will show you a list of reasons to feel unlucky, unworthy, abandoned. But if you ask life what you can learn from the suffering, it will show you strength you didn't know you had, wisdom you would have never found, and a version of you that only hardship could create. Think about it. Two people can face the same tragedy, yet one falls apart while the other transforms. The difference isn't the pain, it's the perspective. One person asks, why did this happen to me? And collapses into bitterness. The other asks, what is this moment shaping me into? And their pain becomes power. Your questions are not harmless thoughts, they are blueprints for your future. They decide whether you drown in the storm or learn how to swim. You've probably asked yourself in your darkest nights, why is this happening? Why me? Why now? But what if life is not trying to break you, but break open something inside you? What if every challenge carries a message, a lesson, a transformation waiting to unfold? The question is not whether you suffer. Everyone does. The question is whether you allow your suffering to teach you or to trap you. Imagine a seed in the soil, in darkness, buried, pressured, crushed beneath earth. If that seed asked, why am I buried? Why am I in darkness? It would rot. But if somehow it could ask, what can I become because of this pressure? It would grow roots, break the ground, and rise into the sun. People are the same. Some rot in pain, others grow through it. And the only difference is the question they ask. Pain is a teacher disguised as chaos. Every heartbreak, every failure, every loss comes with a hidden message, but you only hear it when you stop asking life to justify your suffering and start asking it to reveal your growth. One shift in questioning can flip your entire reality, from victimhood into evolution, from confusion into clarity, from despair into gratitude. What if the very thing you've been searching for outside of yourself, peace, happiness, meaning, has been inside you all along, quietly waiting for your attention? What if the reason you feel empty, even when everything seems fine, is because you've been looking in the wrong places for fulfillment? We chase achievements, relationships, possessions, approval, thinking that when we finally get them, we'll feel complete. But life has a way of showing us that nothing external can truly anchor the soul. The truth is shocking. The only place where gratitude, joy, and abundance live is in the present moment. This very breath, this very heartbeat, this very awareness of life itself. We spend our lives racing, planning, regretting, fearing, yet we forget to exist. What if your shoulders relax the moment you realize that survival itself is a miracle, that your body moves, your heart beats, your lungs fill with air, and even in chaos, you are still here? Every second of presence is a gift most of us ignore. We scroll, compare, worry, and in the process, we miss the raw beauty of simply being alive. Gratitude doesn't require perfection, it requires presence. Consider this. When was the last time you truly noticed the sound of rain, the warmth of the sun on your skin, the way your hair brushes against your face? When did you sit quietly and feel your own heartbeat, realizing it has kept you alive through heartbreak, failure, exhaustion, and fear? These small, simple moments are the foundation of true gratitude. Yet we overlook them because we're addicted to chasing bigger, louder, faster. What if slowing down was actually the key to feeling richer than you ever imagined? Being present doesn't erase pain, but it changes the way pain feels. You stop resisting what is and start witnessing life as it unfolds. You start to see the small acts of grace hidden in ordinary moments. A smile from a stranger, a message from someone who remembered you, a sunset bleeding gold across the horizon. Each moment becomes a thread in a tapestry of gratitude that cannot be shaken because it is built on reality, not expectation. When you cultivate presence, you stop waiting for life to make sense or to hand you permission to feel grateful. You stop hoping for a perfect scenario. You stop measuring your worth by outcomes. Instead, you anchor yourself in now, and suddenly the ordinary becomes extraordinary, the mundane becomes miraculous, and the life you already have feels fuller than any dream you've ever chased. What if acceptance isn't surrender, but the most radical form of strength you could ever practice? What if everything you've been resisting, every failure, every heartbreak, every betrayal, every moment that made you scream at the universe, was actually asking you to let go? We spend our lives fighting reality, trying to force outcomes, pushing against what already is, believing that control equals safety. But what if the truth is terrifying and liberating at the same time? The more you resist life, the heavier it becomes, and the more you accept it, the lighter you feel. Think about it. How many nights have you lain awake, clinging to anger, wishing things were different, replaying every detail, hoping for some miracle that never comes? Resistance is seductive because it gives the illusion of power. You feel like you're doing something, but all it really does is chain your mind, tighten your chest, and blind you to what's already working in your favor. Acceptance, on the other hand, isn't passive. It's a conscious decision to stop wasting energy on what you cannot change and to focus on what you can influence. Imagine trying to swim against a raging river. You struggle, flail, exhaust yourself. The current pulls you under over and over. But what if, instead of fighting, you allowed yourself to float, to move with the flow, to navigate intelligently with the current instead of against it? That doesn't mean the river isn't dangerous or that the water won't sting. It means you survive, you adapt, and you eventually reach shore with more clarity and strength than you would have by resisting. Acceptance also creates space for gratitude. When you stop screaming at life, you start noticing the small miracles you were missing while yelling at the storm. The phone call that reminded you someone cares. The cup of tea that warmed you on a cold morning. the sunrise that painted gold across a sky you were too angry to look at. These moments are always there, but resistance makes them invisible. And here's the shocking part. Acceptance doesn't mean you give up on better. It doesn't mean you stop dreaming or striving. It means you stop letting the chaos of life steal your peace while you're chasing an outcome that may never arrive. When you accept, you reclaim power, not over life itself, but over how you experience it, how you respond, how you heal, and ultimately, how you feel grateful. Even when everything else seems broken as we navigate the storms of life, remember that gratitude isn't waiting at the finish line. It's a choice, a practice, and a perspective that we cultivate even when the world feels like it's falling apart. It grows in small moments, in raw honesty with our feelings, in the questions we ask ourselves, in the presence we embrace, and in the acceptance we cultivate. Even in pain, even in chaos, even when nothing seems certain, there is always something, a breath, a heartbeat, a lesson, a connection to anchor your soul. So take these 8 ways not as rules, but as tools to help you notice what's already here. Let gratitude be the compass that guides you through darkness, the strength that holds you when life shakes you, and the light that reminds you that even in brokenness, life still carries beauty. Good luck on your journey of noticing, feeling, and embracing gratitude. May you find strength in the smallest moments, courage in the hardest challenges, and peace in every breath. Thank you for listening, for opening your heart, and for choosing to see the light even when it feels impossible.